Welcome to the Seventh Sense podcast.
This is a space to explore, reflect, and share.
Open conversations for the heart, mind, and soul.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Seventh Sense podcast. My name is Eugene Yeshaga.
And my name is Edna Njeri.
I think first of all is, how have you been?
I've been good. I'm feeling a bit like, I would say, under the weather right now, but I've been good generally. It's been a good week. What about you?
I've been good. The retrograde maybe is just like it's affecting a lot of shit. My dreams are weird, but I'm glad like I'm on leave, so I'm actually to sleep in. I'm able to take in the effects as the week progresses and as the days go by. So I'm grateful. I think I've been good. It's weird to be on leave. You're so used to doing something every day, so when you're not doing it, it's just like, so what do I do? And like, as we've always done it, I think I'm just gonna ask you a question, and my question this time is, what thing were you told in your childhood that you still believe in?
That's true or not true, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you still believe in it.
One thing that was really instilled in me growing up, and it's something that I still carry today, is the importance of planning. Like, you should always have a plan for your day, whatever it may be. Have a plan and have like some sort of routine. That'll always make your life flow a bit easier, and that's something that I've always seen. Like, as simple as just getting up and making your bed. I know some people don't make their beds every day, so like the importance of having a plan and building routines is something that I still carry with me.
That's deep. I mean, I was gonna say the tooth fairy.
Oh,
I still believe in that shit. I remember, I found like Benji's underneath my pillow, so I still like believe in that shit. So that's Santa Claus, a whole different thing. I think I ended up finding out it's Papa's dad who used to dress up as Santa Claus for Christmas, so that one went when I figured out it's a real person. But yeah, so a tooth fairy.
okay, so for this week's episode, we're going to be talking about love languages, which is yet another topic similar to manifestation, which we discussed in the last episode, which has a lot of hype online. A lot of people use it. People use it in so many different ways. People will be like, brunch is my love language. And so for today's episode, we're going to be talking about love languages, where they actually came from, what they are, if there's any research behind them, and how they actually apply in real life. I think a good place to start is, where did love languages come from? So love languages came from a book that was titled The Five Love Languages: How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate. And this book was written in 1992 by a pastor and marriage counselor known as Dr. Gary Chapman. So he based the whole book on the premise that different people with different personalities give and receive love in different ways. And how this all came about is because he had been speaking to couples. As a pastor, he was doing the whole marriage counseling thing. And so during his these talks and like the seminars, he would talk about the 5 love languages. So then he decided to put it down into a book. And initially, when the book was written, obviously because of his background, it was aimed at married Christian couples. But then it's since then been extended to apply to parents and children, and even to co-workers. And it's like sold tens of millions of copies, is on the bestseller list, has been on the bestseller list for over a decade. And it's so popular that many of us know about the 5 love languages without even having read the book. I've never read the book, but I know about them. So what are the 5 love languages?
I think even before, when was your first interaction with love languages?
Maybe just like in uni at some point. Probably I heard it like, I saw it on Twitter. I don't have like a distinct memory, but I know it was definitely later in life. Like, okay. It wasn't an early memory.
Yeah.
You?
Same. I think I was just like, maybe I'm in uni or something. Same. Just the internet. You know how you stumble upon things just on the internet.
Yeah,
so I think
same.
one of those things wasn't really taught. Didn't hear it anywhere else. So I think it was just like my own evolution, and I found it like on the internet. Yeah. So I guess, there are 5 of them, and we'll kind of try and walk through each one of them with our own understanding of it, but also like things we've seen and picked up and read about them. So I think I'll start with words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation is basically verbal communication that is encouraging, appreciative, and active. That's how I would break it down.
So affirmation is basically like, I love you, you're doing well, you are good at.
Yes.
And I think I look at it in the sense that you see how affirmations work for yourself when you talk to yourself in the mirror and you tell yourself all these, I am the king, I am the queen, I am the best at da-da-da. It kind of like ends up rewiring your brain and you end up feeling better about yourself. And through the law of attraction, which we actually talked about in the previous episode, you feeling better means you're able to attract better things to yourself because your vibration is a bit, how would I say? It's more positive. So I think that's my psychology for just understanding this words of affirmation part was you being told positive things about yourself kind of helps you believe and entrust and attract better things into your life. But how does it work in terms of, before you even get like any further, do you think that these things you communicate like in your relationship before it starts, or you let it like be figured out like as you go on? And I think maybe it's something you can answer me at the end, but just something I've thought of right now.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something you have to communicate. Like, no one's going to read your mind, and I think if you leave it to be figured out, I might be projecting my love languages onto you. I like words of affirmation, so then I do words of affirmation, but that really doesn't do anything for you. So I think when you're dating before you're in a relationship, it's a good time to get to know each other's love languages. Okay.
I think I'll go on to quality time. So people whose love language is quality time feel the most adored when their partner actively wants to spend time with them and is always down to hang out and kick it with them. They really appreciate the fact that it's just active listening. There's eye contact, there's full presence. So this means like, there's no phone interruption, it's just time between you and your partner. So it's basically about undivided attention. That's it for quality time.
Okay, then we can move into acts of service. Acts of service is about doing helpful, thoughtful deeds for your partner, things you know that they would appreciate. For example, if you know they're missing something from their house, you can go and pick it up for them. That would be an example of an act of service.
Okay.
And we're speaking about this in the context of relationships, but it also applies in like friendships, etc. You could also do an act of service for like your neighbor, your co-worker, based on how you know them and you know what they would need. What's a thoughtful deed you could do for them? That's an act of service.
Okay. I think gifts, it's pretty straightforward. You feel loved when someone gives you visual symbols of love. I think sometimes we get caught up in I bought you a car. I think it's more about the thought behind the car. So it might have been something maybe you mentioned maybe a year ago. I'd like a car that's in this color, all the details, and they actually got it for you in those exact details. I feel like that's what gifting is.
It's the thought behind the gift.
So much sentiment behind it. I think if you attach it to the gift, it's kind of a bit wishy-washy. But also, let me not dictate. I feel like other people who their love language is gifts, maybe they understand it like differently.
Yeah.
But for my own like perception of it, it's just that.
And then the final one is physical touch. How do you even really explain physical touch? It's literally physical touch.
So it's like what? Physical intimacy and touch.
Yeah.
I think it comes more of like from your formative years. The only way like your parents could ever communicate affection and love to you was that they touch you. That was like your first, like maybe, I want to say inception to understanding a bond between you and someone else.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe, and depending on how many people do the test and then look at it, physical touch ends up being highly ranked, but also depending on things that happen in your course of your life, it can be deterred. But I think for most people, it's innate because that was your first way of receiving affection, like from your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the 5 love languages. If you think about it based off of that, I was going to add, for physical touch, there has to be consent. It just can't be my love language is physical touch and
the other person is not like consenting to it. So it has to be something that it's accepted. It can't be something that's used as like a bargaining chip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think about the 5 love languages you've named, they're all like sort of categories of behavior. So when you think about affection, when you think about love, what do you associate it with? Is it what people do for you? So that's acts of service. Is it when you have intimate moments with them? So that's physical touch. So it really depends on which category of behavior that you associate with affection. And how you can actually break down your love languages and determine what yours are, there's tests online that you can do.
Yeah. I don't think I want to like put mine out there, because when I was sitting back, when I was actually like doing my research on this, I'm like, can it be like manipulative in the sense that I understand your love languages and I might use them against you to my benefit? Do you get what I mean?
It's definitely a possibility, but it's a lot of work. Like, because what if my love languages are not your love languages? So you're changing your behavior to match what I want just to get something. What if it's not working? Like, I feel like
we've seen people who've done like a lot of like manipulative shit.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
My opinion is you do the test like maybe with your partner, maybe like your brother, your siblings, people who are like a kind of bit more close knit to you. I don't know. I just find like it can be manipulated and it can be used like against you in a sense. Yeah.
Or just do the test on your own and then know them and then ask whoever you would like to ask, and hopefully they've done it. If they haven't, you can give them the test. So at a basic level, okay, so love languages is about you understanding what your partner needs or wants and then you doing that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's a very basic element of relationships. You need to be paying attention to what your partner needs, and then you need to be showing up to what they do. So that's kind of been the point of contention where people are like, it's not a very groundbreaking thing to pay attention to your partner. It's like...
And I've always been of the opinion that cool, science exists and it's based off of research, it's quantitative and qualitative, I think. But like you're saying, it should be a bit like autonomous about you to be like, okay, fine, I want to understand my partner a bit more, I want to get to know them. I always feel like whenever something is broken down so and like compartmentalized and just made in so many boxes, it kind of takes away the fun of actually getting to... Fine, I might not know it's acts of service, that's like the title, but I know what makes you feel appreciated, makes you feel loved. That's always my thing. It's just some things are more, it's intuitive as opposed to it's textbook. I know, oh, this is the thing about it.
Yeah, but again, the book is very popular. So owing to that popularity is when like research has been done, because it's like, oh, this is such a big book, let's see if it actually works. And it's true, the results have been mixed. Like it's, some of them completely agree and show like relationships where they understand each other's love languages are so much better. But the thing is, the basic part of what you're saying remains. It's you pay attention, you have the attentiveness, and then you change your behavior to match what you've noticed.
Yeah.
But again, for some people, it's like I don't have one primary love language. And then again, something else that people will say is something like quality time is a basic necessity for any healthy relationship. So you can't really, it sort of cuts across for everyone. You can't really have a healthy relationship without quality time. So that's where the research comes in. It's like some studies show, at the basic level, they show that you paying attention and then you adjusting your behavior is essential for your relationship. But there's all these other points that come in that like, it's quality time. You have to do it. Like,
so we live in a day and age where online dating is a thing, and we have people maybe who meet like on Instagram or Twitter, and maybe you're like on opposing sides of this world. And let's say one of you, like your love language is quality time, and this other person is physical touch. But when you talk, everything is cool. You know what I mean? So does it mean like certain people, just based off of their love languages, you might have such an amazing relationship with someone, but long distance is going to affect like some of these things. If your thing is quality time or physical touch.
Even though it's long distance or online, you still have quality time, just not in a physical sense. You still have to spend the time to reply to their messages, make sure you're keeping in touch, schedule calls, etc, etc. That's the version of quality time.
And physical touch for that.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that physical touch is a requirement for all. I'm saying quality time is a requirement for any healthy relationship. It doesn't matter whether it's online or offline. Like either way, you have to still find a way to spend some time together.
Okay.
And I think physical touch is so tricky because you can't insist that your love language is physical touch. Trigger warning: sexual abuse. You can't insist that your love language is physical touch without taking the time to understand if your partner has like sexual trauma. So then for them, physical touch might be not a primary love language.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so how do you respond to that?
I think it's I mean, there are a bunch of like horny boys out there, you know what I mean? So they might use that as to get what they want, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, my thing is physical touch. I think it goes above, there's intimate touching, but also there's a physical touch of you're holding hands, you can hug. There's, I can hold your foot. Like there's certain things you can do that are not really leading towards, you know, hey, I'm trying to get, you know, let's get physical. But there's I just want you to feel my presence. I don't know how to put it, but you feel secure in my presence around you. I think maybe if you look at it from that lens in terms of I'm just making you feel safe. And again, consent is everything. So, and the thing is, things you learn from your partner, you pick up as you move.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you find out, okay, fine, maybe holding hands, oh, that works for them. That makes them feel comfortable. So I think it's always about compromise and sacrificing most of these things. Your physical touch might be, I want to be hugged all the time. But maybe for your partner, it's not the same thing, but as long as you have that conversation, you guys end up having that
understanding.
Yeah, and it just works.
So what would you say, like, where do you draw that balance between this is my love language that I like giving and this is the love language that you like giving? So how are we meeting in the middle to make sure everyone's giving and receiving what they want?
One thing I always say, you can have one love language. You can be someone 2 years ago who's so different now. And that evolution about yourself, it's that constant self-awareness. So I think you might be in a relationship maybe for even 7 years with someone, but in those 7 years, your love language has evolved every year because you also get to learn yourself. So I always say, it's just be open to, it might change 6 months, 3 months from now, like what your primary one is. No, your primary one will always stay kind of like intact. Your secondary one might shift depending on your relationships. I say self-awareness, understand what yours is and don't impose that on someone else. Understand and just communicate it. They might not get it instinctively. So like, for example, gifts is like at 0% for me. So you might buy me all the gifts in the world and it might not seem like I'm appreciative, but I am, but it's just not something I'd use to be like, oh shit, they love me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So with that understanding, someone else might be able to use, I don't know, I think just communication. You're able to find out, okay, fine, this actually works for them.
It's all about communication. It's about the communication of this is my love language and then the checkups throughout the relationship of how does this make you feel now? Is this still, do you feel my affection when through gifts? Does that still do anything for you?
I think because we constantly grow, we constantly evolve. So allowing yourself to also expand and receive affection in different forms that maybe you are not, who knows, 3 years from now I appreciate gifts, might, you know what I'm saying? So just allowing yourself that flexibility. Yeah.
I think that's kind of the beauty with love languages, because they allow us to be very open about our needs without having to be like too vulnerable, because you can just say my love language is quality time without having to say I need to see you every day, like I miss that you're not spending time with me. Like you can just say my love language is quality time, and it allows you to communicate your needs without having to feel so like awkward about it at the initial stages of a relationship.
True. So when do you communicate these things? Is it like when, of course when you're dating, like when you get to figure the person out, Okay.
And I think the thing about love languages is sometimes it's in a relationship, it's really about understanding your partner's love languages and them understanding yours rather than you understanding your own. Like, it's about me understanding my partner's love languages so that I can speak their love language. I can make sure that they're receiving their love languages, and then they can do the same for me.
I think it also has an element to do with also you understanding yours, because I might be speaking to you in a love language that you don't even know is, like, you don't know what yours is. So I might be doing acts of service to you, but you don't even know what your primary love language is. You know what
But
I'm
that's
saying?
for me to communicate what my love language is.
I think, yeah, it's important to understand your partners, but I feel like without your own awareness of yours, it's going to be a bit futile for whatever they do for you. If you don't get what yours is, then I don't think you'll be getting anywhere with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to read an excerpt from that book, The Five Languages, where the author said, "We cannot rely on our native tongue if our spouse does not understand it. If we want them to feel love the way we're trying to communicate, then we must express it in our primary love language." And then now he goes ahead to share all the specific things you can do to adapt your behavior to your partner's love language. So it does start with yourself, but I think the thing is not to go into a relationship wanting to express your love languages. It's more of something that your partner does for you and you do for them their love languages, rather than you, I don't want to say projecting, but putting your love languages on them, and maybe that's not what they're really looking for or need.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I think even on that, in the same breath, I thought of why not even just look at the apology languages, which is a whole new thing. I think I figured out maybe last month or something, or maybe 2 months ago. So ideally, they're broken down again into 5 different forms of apologizing. So one of them is expressing regret. Basically, you can imagine it's "I'm sorry." It's important to understand, not only for your partner, even for your friends, people around you, is how do they accept apologies, and how do you, again, it's the same thing as I might be giving you gifts but doesn't do it to you. I might just be saying I'm sorry, but that doesn't work into you actually being able to accept my apology. So one, you express regret, you say I'm sorry. While it sounds obvious, people kind of feel like guilt walking around not having said I'm sorry. And this may be your language if you want someone to acknowledge the hurt they caused. You want someone to genuinely express that they regret their actions, and you want to feel validated in your emotions. That's you're expressing regret. So if any one of those three work for you, then that's how people should, or you accept apologies better. Second one is accepting responsibility. So this one is, it's easier to say I'm wrong, you're right. But I think with this one, it's actually take into account of I said this, I did this, and it made you feel this way. Basically owning up. And this may be your language if you want someone to take ownership of the hurt they caused, or you want someone to clearly state what they did wrong to prove that they learned from their mistakes. So the other one is making restitution. So something is lost, broken, or damaged is someone is owning up or kind of making up for the inconvenience caused. Basically, I'll pay you back, or hear new ones, like you had said. So this may be your apology language if you want someone to prove they're willing to correct the problem. That is, put the money where the mouth is. You find it important that the perpetrator makes things right again, whatever that may look like. And you want someone to take the lead in a situation. And genuine repenting. I found this one so religious. And just in the word repenting, I guess also, though I understand it. Just change of behavior. So if I did or said something that made you feel away, it's about me changing that behavior as opposed to I keep on doing it, I'll keep on apologizing. It's just I need to change my behavior about it. This may be your apology language, sorry. If you need proof that someone is growing and working towards change, you need assurance that you won't be let down the next time around. Words aren't enough for you. So you just want to see
apologies, change behavior.
Yeah.
Regardless.
And then requesting forgiveness. Allows the other person time to process their hurt before assuming everything is back to normal. Saying I'm sorry for letting you down, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Places the power back into the hands of the hurt party. So basically, I've done something messed up. I come and ask you, okay, fine. Are you willing to forgive me for doing X, Y, Z? So this one works if, this one is for you if you're not quite ready for reconciliation yet. You need more from the apology and want the space to ask for it. And you need to know the person apologizing is willing to wait until you're ready. Basically, this is like the 5 apology languages. I felt like was kind of cool. Also want to like internalize them and see how I actually apply them in my life, and which it actually works for me.
Do you think forgiveness is like what do you think about forgiveness? Is it something that's like instant, or is it something that's earned, or is it something that
I feel like every time I'm constantly trying to like relearn and re-understand the concept of forgiveness. I feel like I don't get it yet. So does it mean me saying, oh, I forgive you? You know what I mean? Or is it patching things up? That's what forgiveness is. Or is it walking away from something because you know this is done? So I've forgiven you, but you don't have to be like, there's so many facets to forgiveness. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
But when do you feel the most like healed or at peace with the situation? Because for me, I know I'm relatively quick at forgiving, but it will never ever be the same. Like I'll always, it takes long for me to let go, but I've made peace with it, but I'm just way more.
So you see, like, is that forgiveness then? Should forgiveness be we go back to how it used to be then?
But we can't undo whatever was done. It was already done.
So
we're doing our best with how things are now.
So forgiveness isn't about it going back to what it used to be. That means you let go and let live.
I don't have that. Like, for me, it's about when I've actually made peace with what has happened. Because I feel like sometimes me trying to go back to how things were makes me more angry about the thing I should be forgiving, makes me more resentful to the person. Because I'm like, well, why did you do this? It's about when I get to that point where I've actually accepted, okay, this happened. It wasn't even, let's say, for example, it wasn't even anything to do with me. It was just how things fell, like how the cards fell, and I'm okay with that. And now we move forward. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to forget. Like, that never happened. That's not even a thing. I'm definitely going to be a bit more cautious moving forward.
You see, that's for me. I'm like, it's something I'm constantly like trying to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. Because for me, in my maybe ideal world, it's if I've forgiven you, things are going back. So, yes, this thing happened, but we like erase it.
It definitely also depends on the level of whatever the thing is. If you like hit me when you're passing versus if you like cheat in a relationship, those are two very different things. So I think it also depends on the level of the thing being forgiven.
I mean, true. Also, I think it also depends on the depth of the relationship with the person who wronged you or harmed you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's like about it for me in terms of looking at love languages and
apology languages.
Yeah. So
we'll leave a test linked that you can do in case you don't know your love languages. In case you do, this is your reminder to communicate them to your partner, friends, family, find out theirs, and that would really increase the satisfaction of your relationships.
Yeah. I think also get to know yours also. I feel like the people who walk around without even knowing anything about.
Okay, so with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. It was a quick one, but yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. Please leave us a rating if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, and we will catch you guys next week.
Peace.
Love.
And harmony.